All right, now we're going to look at some of the very common faults that we see with the air squat. The first one coach is going to show us here is that as she goes to squat down, the chest is going to fall forward. All right, and so now we got a couple things going on here. One is we're putting a lot of pressure on the low back, and secondly, we're not able to get a lot of movement with the hips here because the hips are already at a pretty high position. All right, so what we want to do to fix that is if I reset her, I have her stand all the way up. Go ahead and come on up to the top. All right, so I'm going to challenge her to keep the chest up. Sometimes you might want to have them hold a plate or drive their hands out in front to help them kind of counterbalance that. And so now she's going to go ahead and push back into the squat correctly and keep the chest up and then come back up underneath. All right, so that's one of the first faults, and that's how we want to fix that. The second very common fault that you're going to see is a situation where the knees are having a tendency to cave in. All right, so give us a shot of that. Okay, good. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on the inside of the knee here. And so most commonly we see that fault because either unawareness, or they're not really thinking, or the feet are too wide. So first thing I'm going to have coach do is bring the feet in a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to give her the cue that I want her to just gently push the knees out. I'm not worried about them coming out really wide. I just want to make sure that that pressure pushing them out is preventing them from caving in. All right, so go ahead and show us that. Good, so now we fix that. The third thing that we have to really understand the difference is a fundamental thing of as far as I'm going to have coach turn sideways here so you can see the difference between getting our body down lower in the squat position through pushing the hips back and down to help us get down versus driving the knees forward and letting the body fall forward. All right, so the fault is a lot of times people aren't really aware of their hips and the ability to push the hips back and down, and so what they end up doing is they end up just falling forward with the knees, all right? And so what you see is weight off the heels here, body's falling forward, and that's going to put a bad position on the knees and that we don't want. So what we're going to have coach do now is she's going to pull the abs in tight, chest stays up, and she's going to drive the hips back and down. All right, she's going to hit that movement standard that we're looking for at parallel or slightly below. Drive the hips back, show us again, and back up. So again, think about the difference between a situation where you're trying to sit back into something, back and down to lower your body down, versus knees falling forward and caving forward.